from the lobby of Bruner Dodge on the corner of the South Loop and US 281 in Stephenville. Make sure you stop by. Plenty of free food courtesy of Cotton Patch Cafe. We'll have refreshments and, of course, giveaways later in the half hour. We'll bring back the life-size dice, and if your name is drawn, you could win an oil change, Tarleton athletic gear, a car wash. You could even win a car courtesy of Mr. Greg Bruner himself. Lunch with Lonn is sponsored by Bruner Motors, so we want to thank them for their support in making the show possible. Coach, congratulations. Good to see you.
Thank you, Casey.
Good week. Another good week.
Yeah, it's been, the last couple of weeks have been a little better and kind of getting better, and had a chance to, play some very good teams within the conference, and we were very blessed to come out on top.
Let's start by breaking down those two games this past week. The first one being on Saturday night at home against Texas A&M Commerce, a game that your team would win 68-55. And Coach, you face Commerce twice in a week, part of that Lone Star Conference rivalry week. And the difference is Commerce had 6 days off in between games. You played on Wednesday night against McMurray. Looking at that, did that give your team an advantage?
Well, I think that they like to play more than they like to practice sometimes, Casey. I mean, there's no doubt about that. We've been in the gym a lot practicing this year, so I think that kept maybe us in the flow a little bit better, and we came off that great win at Commerce on the road and came right back, played on Wednesday night, and kind of broke up the in-between games between us. So I thought that was good for us, and then we knew Commerce would come in rested, and thought they would come in with maybe a new game plan, and because of what, maybe take some of the things that they wanted to change from the first game over there, and we figured that would happen, and Commerce has a good basketball team. There's no doubt about it. I mean, they had beaten Midwestern at Midwestern this year, and they've got some quality wins, and we have a lot of respect for them.
Of course, the trademark of Sam Walker's teams is pushing the ball up the court in transition and scoring on the fast break. Do you feel like your team did an even better job in this game, transition defense-wise, than the first matchup?
No doubt. I mean, I thought we gave up way too many points transition over there, and that's one of the keys to our game was to make sure that they didn't get easy transition points and keep them off the free throw line, which we knew they were going to get more than 5 free throws over here, and we must out-rebound them, because if you give Sam's team second opportunities, then they're probably going to make you pay for it. And so I thought we did some of the things we had to do. We really played well defensively, and I don't know what they shot for the game, but I thought it was it was
44%. Yeah, they only had 41 attempts.
Yeah, and it was, and they want more than 41 attempts, believe me. And then I thought we our rebounding, we out rebounded them, but I thought it was going to be a tough game. It's always a tough game between Tarleton State and Commerce.
And +7 turnover margin as you force them into 15 turnovers and you score 17 points off those 15 turnovers. That without a doubt a big key here.
No doubt. I mean, that was again those are the things that we're trying to do, and we're really trying to take our offense and grind it and make sure we're shooting good high percentage shots and get better offensively. And I think you're starting to see some of those things happen as we get down into the latter part of the conference season.
This was your team's 7th consecutive win over Texas A&M Commerce. The last Lions win in this series, November of 2008. And I hate to break it to you, Coach, but I don't think you're going to be on the A&M Commerce Christmas card list.
Well, Casey, you're awful good about telling me about things that we've done. The other night before the game, you told me that Angela had lost 22 straight games on the road. I really didn't want to know that, because I didn't want to be the one that's going to snap their streak on the road.
You never talk to the radio guy before you.
I'm never going to any longer, Casey, because after
I know too many useless stats.
I go into the locker room and I'm thinking they haven't lost a game on the road. I mean, 22 straight road losses. Are we going to be the one? I mean, that kind of. I'm not going to listen to what you have to say anymore before ball games, Casey. Don't come and see me before ball games.
The 13-point win over Texas A&M Commerce was Tarleton's 4th consecutive win as Coach Reisman's squad improved to 12-6 overall and 5-5 in the conference. The Texans would remain in Stephenville to cap off a 3-game homestand on Wednesday night against Angelo State. Coach, this was a matchup between a team playing at a very high level in your squad and, frankly, an Angelo State team that's been struggling as of late. But they did beat you earlier this season, and I thought you had to give them credit. They came out and got an early 9-point lead.
We don't match up real well with them, Casey, and that's one of the things that concern me the most. They have a lot of big perimeter guys, bigs that play out on the perimeter, where ours don't play on the perimeter a lot, and they can really shoot the ball out there, and we really don't have a great matchup with them, and that concerned me, number one. Number two is that they had won 2 conference games and lost 10, and you look at that and you say, you've got to get your guys ready. And one thing I got them ready for is one of the 2 conference wins I had was against us. That was the first conference game of the year, and they beat us 57-52 in Commerce. I mean, in Angelo, and I knew this was going to be their kids had some confidence coming into the game. They had defeated us once, and we really had to get our guys ready to play. And I thought we kind of came out a little bit sluggish to start the game, and I don't know if that's because we've been working so hard in practice or not. We really have not cut our practices down, and usually this time of the year you start to back off a little bit. and I haven't been ready to back off any yet. And so, you know, we've been pushing them pretty hard for 2 hours and 2 hours and a half, and maybe that. You could see that a little bit of that fatigue, but I thought we regrouped at halftime and got back after it.
Yeah, you would win this game 67-44. It's season high 5th consecutive win for your ball club, and it's no surprise that during this winning streak you're rebounding the ball very well. You've out-rebounded teams 6 consecutive games, but in this one you had a 22-14 disadvantage at half.
Yeah, and we talked about that at half. That was one of the adjustments we were going to have to make at halftime. We had not that just can't happen on your home floor, and we came back out in the second half and really dominated the backboards. And you know, I'm looking at defensively we're getting better, Casey. There's no doubt about that. I mean, we've been 44 points, 50 points. I mean, I don't know, but we've kept people right where we want them defensively, and they have a really outstanding dribble drive offense, and we really shut that down. Coach Chris had a really great game plan to shut that down, and there's not many times you hold Angelo State to 44 points.
Yeah, you took away my next question. I was going to ask you about that dribble drive, and that says a lot, because I don't know if you faced that type of offense yet this year. And
you don't
give Coach Chris a lot of credit on the scouting report.
Yeah, you know, his preparation is you know, I kind of compare him to a surgeon. He just kind of goes in there and surgically just destroys what they're going to do offensively, and he really took that dribble drive offense to pieces, and he really had. In fact, they got out of it. You know, I saw Fred. He's just over there going, I mean, how are you covering this thing? This is not supposed to happen. And he really inserted a piece into our defense that really took them out of that dribble drive. And finally, they just got out of it.
Well, they didn't score a basket for 13 minutes, so that probably had something to do with it.
And so we really had that down on how we wanted to cover that. And all of a sudden, then they started going to their second and third auxiliary offenses. And whether you know, in the game of basketball, you just don't run your second and third and fourth auxiliary things as much as you do your primary offense. Therefore, and I've always told our kids that even when they're running a set, don't give them the primary piece of the set. They want a certain thing. Make them go to their third and fourth options, because how much do you practice on your third and fourth options? And not, a lot of people do not do that.
Another reason your team's on a 5-game winning streak is the point guard play's been spectacular. Coach Chuck Guy had 25 points against Commerce, 23 against Angelo State. He's played in 74 minutes the past 2 games, scored 48 points, 5 assists, and only 2 turnovers. You've had some great point guards here at Tarleton, and it seems like Chuck is taking that to another level.
Yeah, Chuck has really played at another level right now. I mean, he's finally comfortable in what we're doing, Casey, and it takes some time to get into that comfort zone, and he's playing at a really, really high level right now. I mean, it's hard to take him off the floor, and he has when I say he has a high motor, I mean he has an endurance level that's really, really great. This guy can play 40 minutes and go get on the bike and ride that for 30 more minutes. He's just got a high threshold for, you know, he can really play a lot of minutes, and he does not get tired, and so he's played at a high level, and he's kind of carried us. You know, he kind of reminds me of a couple of years ago at Midwestern when Midwestern had the Hagen kid, and this Hagen kid was just, he carried Midwestern. I mean he was their catalyst to where they went. And I'm starting to see a little bit of that in Chuck right now. Chuck's kind of carrying, you know, he's carrying us. When I say carrying us, I don't mean he's making other players better on the floor right now. If you look down there, 39 minutes, one turnover. 38 minutes, 2 turnovers. But his assist ratio is way up in the conference. He's also distributing the basketball to the people that need to be involved in our offense. So, you know, it takes a special guy to score 25 points, but keeps everybody else involved in the offense. Doesn't turn the ball over, and what I like about him in practice right now and through our walkthroughs is that he's communicating with the other guys and saying, you're supposed to be here, remember to step out here. And I'm starting to see some of that in him, which I saw in West Dippery last year when West was kind of glued to our team and really talked and kept everybody in focused and where they had to be. And I'm seeing that in Chuck right now, and I hope it continues because he's got a great future here, you know, and he's right now, I think he's probably, if not one of the top point guards in this conference, maybe in this region.
With the 67-44 win over Angelo State, the Tarleton Texans improved to 13-6 on the season and all alone in 4th place in the conference with 6 wins and 5 losses. When we return in 1 minute, graduate assistant Chris T.D. Harrell joins the broadcast when Lunch with Lonn continues right after this. Welcome back to Lunch with Lonn, live from the recently renovated lobby of Bruner Dodge on the corner of the South Loop and Highway 281 in Stephenville. I'm your host, Casey Hogan, and right now I'm joined by former Texan guard and current graduate assistant Chris T.D. Harrell for this week's Texan Coaching Spotlight. T.D., good to see you. Thanks for a few minutes of your time today.
No problem. You know, I enjoy coming here and talking and communicating with the radio.
Well, it's good. It's good to have you here. And the first thing I got to ask is, you know, I've been gone the last 4 years, so I really haven't got to know you until this year. TD, how did you get that nickname? When did it come about?
Well, I got that name when I was born because my father was like a football player, a real good football player, and he figured I was gonna be one like he was. So he gave me the nickname TD. But I guess I kind of went the other way. But as long as I was in sports, he was okay with it.
Now, you're from Elgin, Texas, and we all know, most people in here know what Elgin's famous for. Tell us.
The sausage.
And is it really? I've never had any Elgin. Is it really that good?
Yeah, it really is that good. I miss it sometimes. I ain't been home in a while to eat some, but yeah, it's famous for the sausage.
Maybe you can bring us some sausage one day here for maybe bring some up for the show one day. We can try.
Yeah, if I get some time.
What was it like growing up in Elgin and playing high school basketball there?
Oh, it was pretty. It was nice. I mean, the town is kind of like Stephenville, so I mean, everybody knows everybody there, and I've been there since I was in 6th grade when I moved from Austin there. And I mean, the community is great oriented. The people, they're real fun to be around. They're a great positive community. I mean, it's a great place to grow up.
Now, I saw in your bio that you scored 50 points in a game as a sophomore in high school, and I imagine you remember that game pretty well.
Yeah, I remember that game pretty well. I had
it's an easy one to remember.
Yeah, I went 9 for 12 from the three-point line, and I mean, it felt like I could throw the ball backwards and it would go in. I mean,
that's a good feeling, huh?
Yeah, it was a good feeling. It was a great feeling.
Now, you'd go on to play one season at Navarro Junior College before transferring to Tarleton. Talk to us about that recruiting process and why you chose to come to Stephenville.
Well, Tarleton was recruiting me out of high school, and I had thought about it, whatever, and I went to Navarro, and I started thinking of the schools that was recruiting me out of high school, and I really looked at Tarleton, and I thought about how it was and how they was recruiting me, and I really liked the way that they was after me. So, and when I came down for the visit, I liked the community, how the people were, how everybody was behind each other, and it kind of reminded me of home. So it was an easy time to come here.
Now, you played 3 seasons for head coach Lonn and I did the math this morning. As a player, the teams that you played on won 75 games and only lost 20. Now, 75 wins is a lot, TD, in 3 years. Is there a game that really one of those wins that sticks out to you? It's the most memorable, I should say.
My UCO game here last year, I scored my career high at 28 here. That was probably the most memorable game.
And that's a tough team to beat anytime.
Yeah, I mean, all 3 years we've been here, it was a tough team to beat, tough team to play, to go against. And it just felt good to have a career night against that team. And
you really had a great season last year. Looking at the stats, 12.5 points per game. You knocked down a team-high 55 three-pointers. It seemed like everything kind of fell into place for you.
Yeah, it was like Coach told me, just wait your turn, and keep working hard, keep pressing forward, and your time will come. And when my time came, I took advantage of it. And last year was a real good year for me.
Yeah, as a team, 27-6, fantastic season. You get to the second round of the NCAA tournament. How tough was it after that loss to Arkansas Tech, knowing that it would be your final game as a player on this Tarleton team?
It was a real tough loss. I figured we was going to go for all the way. I really wanted to help Coach get to that one thing that he hasn't accomplished yet, and it was just a tough loss to lose it by 1 point. And we had a chance to win it at the end at the buzzer, and the shot didn't go. So.
Now, you played with a lot of great players during your 3 years at Tarleton. Which ones stick out in your mind as the best teammates on and off the court? I'm putting you on the spot here. So it's a good time to give a shout-out to anyone on the radio here.
I guess Wes Dippery was a good player to play with. One of my close friends was Word last year, Devon Hills, Cohen Henry, Dante, Wally, Webb. I met a lot of people in 3 years, and I really had a great chemistry with a lot of players on the team.
What's that transition been like, TD, to go from a key starter to now being a member of the coaching staff?
It's a little change. It's a lot more work that goes behind than I thought it was.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's nights that I'm out there coaching that I want to go out there and help them, but I can't.
Well, I've seen you at practice. I've seen you shooting after practice, and this guy could, if he had another year of eligibility, you could still play.
Yeah, if I had another year, it would be nice if I had another year. But I mean, I'm coaching and trying to help them in ways that help the team better and things that they lack in, and show them the experience that I have and try to make them better players.
Now, when did you graduate with? You had a criminal justice.
Criminal justice degree.
In the summer?
In May.
In May. Okay. So what's the career goal for Chris T.D. Harrell?
Right now I'm getting my master's in kinesiology, so my career is now changed a little bit to going into coaching, the coaching field, and helping with my talents and the things I've done in my lifetime with basketball, trying to help the younger generation.
Well, you're in a good place to do it because you look at the guys that have been in your shoes, starting as graduate assistants, and some of them are head coaches at the Division I level, some are top assistants at D1, so you're in a good spot.
Yeah, I mean, I have Coach Reisman, and I mean, he's been in 25 years, and I mean, no one knows the business like he does, and I mean, I have a great mentor in him, and he helps me, teaches me the best thing: keep God first, and be honest, be loyal, and work hard. And those are things I try to keep doing.
TD, thanks so much for your time today. Best of luck to you in the future, man.
No problem.
That's Chris TD Harrell, graduate assistant for the Tarleton Texans. When we return in 1 minute, Coach Reisman will rejoin the broadcast as we preview this week's matchups against Texas A&M Kingsville and Abilene Christian. You're listening to the Tarleton Athletic KSTV Radio Network. And welcome back to Lunch with Lonn, brought to you by Bruner Motors. We just heard from graduate assistant Chris TD Harrell, and Coach TD, such an important part of this basketball program the last 4 years.
He really was, Casey. And the most important thing is TD's what he's doing with his life. He's doing great things with his life. He's very dedicated, very faithful young man, and already got his degree. He's working on his master's degree, and I think he's going to do a great job of leading young men. And in any field he decides to go in coaching is where he's headed right now. And I think the world of, I kind of put him in charge of some of our free throw shooters. So now when David and Joe Bob always get on me about not making free throws, now they can get on TD because I've given him that responsibility. So if anybody doesn't like the free throw shooting, see TD about it.
TD's doing a good job as of late.
He really is. I mean, he's trying to pick it up. So I always get all this. You go to the restaurants, I get all this criticism about our free throw shooting, and I've had that forever. So I've kind of given that.
People criticize you? Yeah, restaurants in town.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty good at times. I mean, when we make them, I feel good, and when we miss them, it's TD's fault.
By the way, we're live from Bruner Dodge, and by far our largest crowd of the year, Coach, and a lot of folks here that are so important to our athletics program. We've got the chair of the Athletic Council, Dr. Bob Newby here, so good to see Dr. Newby here. We've got the Plowboys here, and you just said something about Dr. Newby.
I don't know if the Plowboy knows, but he is the founder of the Plowboys.
Right there, Dr. Newby.
He started the Plowboys back in the 80s, and he is the absolute founder of who started the Plowboys, and I can't say enough about the Plowboys. They're, when I come to a gym and they're not across from me, I get real nervous when they're not there. And when I see them walk in, I get feeling a lot better, and so I feel great about when the Plowboys are good. And now they're here with me, I feel like I'm guarded here too.
You are?
I am guarded. I mean, they're a tremendous spirit group at our institute at Tarleton State, and I can't think of them enough of what they do for the athletic department. And then I see foul play here too. As far as I'm concerned, that's the best pep band in the Lone Star Conference and in Division II.
Close.
They do a great job, and so happy to see them here too. So we've got a great following.
And we've got to be on our best behavior. We got Dr. Newby here, the Plowboys. We also have Dr. DeTavio here.
You better be on your best behavior.
So I'm going to take out a few of the questions I was going to ask and stick to the script here. But we appreciate everyone for being here. Such a fantastic crowd here at Bruner Dodge. And it's time now to go ahead and preview this week's matchups. Tarleton's first game is Saturday night as they make the short road trip to Abilene to face Abilene Christian University. The Wildcats 11-10 overall. Right now, Coach, they're hanging on to the 8th seed in the conference. They're a very dangerous team. They just beat Commerce on the road, and this is a game they really need to win.
It's going to be a very tough game. I'll tell you, Casey, there's just not a lot of difference in this whole conference this year. And Abilene, to me, is one of the most talented teams in this conference. There is no doubt in my mind they are one of the most talented teams in this conference. Look at their losses. They lost to Midwestern 72-71 at home. They have lost. They've lost a lot of games at the buzzer. We really played well tonight. We beat them here 64-50, and that's probably one of the better games we played this year. And they're probably thinking about, well, we're going to get we got to defend our home floor, and this is an opportunity. Anytime you have an opportunity to sweep somebody in the conference, you need to take advantage of that opportunity, and it'll be very hard to beat them over there. But we swept Commerce. Now we have a chance to if we can get a sweep over Abilene, it really shoots us up into the conference race in the top tier of the conference. And we know it's going to be tough. It's going to be a very tough battle. It's kind of sad because we have had a tremendous rivalry with Abilene Christian.
Yep. And
next year will be the first year we won't play the Abilene. I've tried to put them back on our schedule, and they're not interested in playing. As you know, they're going Division I right now, and so it's been a great rivalry, and we've had some great ball games with Abilene Christian. And hopefully, in the future, we can get them back on our schedule.
And they can really shoot the three-pointer, Coach. 40% on the season from the arc. That's first in the conference. And I remember a game back in Moody Coliseum. I don't know if you remember this one in 2008, where I think we were probably up by 20 or 25 points, and then they go off the last 5 minutes of the game and hit 7 or 8 three-pointers, and you won that game 86-80. 85.
Yeah,
you definitely don't want to repeat that.
You're never out of the game with a 3-point. And this game's kind of a really different type of game because you have Chuck Guy, who's I feel like is one of the best point guards in in Division II basketball, and then you have the Lawton.
Yeah, roommates last year.
And they were roommates at UALR last year. And so, do you think they don't know each other pretty well? I don't know. I mean, they spent a lot of time. They played on the same team. In fact, Lawton wanted to come to Tarleton, and we weren't able to take both of them. We took Chuck, and so I mean, they're going to go head to head to each other. And here's these two guys playing for the same team last year in the Sun Belt level. And they were roommates, and now they're going to go against head-to-head with each other tomorrow night.
It's Tarleton and Abilene Christian at 7:30 p.m. from Moody Coliseum in Abilene, Texas. Then you turn around, Coach. You go from the shortest road trip of the year to perhaps the longest road trip of the year on Wednesday as you take on Texas A&M Kingsville. And the Javelinas, Coach, last year they were 12-16 on the season. You only beat them by 2 points, and you had a very good basketball team. So I don't need to tell you it's a very tough place to play.
Well, it's probably one of the toughest journeys that you make every year down into the Kingsville area, Casey. It's going to be a tough ball game down there. They're going to be really rested. They haven't played in 10 days, and they were, they're probably, had a lot of time to prepare for us, and it's going to be a very, every game right now is going to be a fight in a critical game for everybody in this conference if you've looked at the standings. So, 2 big road games coming up. I told our guys, play one at a time. We'll see what happens tomorrow night. We'll prepare hard, and then we'll get ready for the next one. And there's nothing left easy.
And you defeated A&M Kingsville 52-46 at Wisdom early in January, and you definitely can improve from that performance, Coach. Because you look at the stats, you were out-rebounded by 9.
Yep.
They shot 42% from the field, but you still won by 6.
Yeah, and it's a game that they really came back on us, and we were ahead a 13-point lead. And I hope that I think we're a much different team right now. I've had a lot of coaches come up to me and say, Lonn, your team's playing a lot different than it did 30 to 60 days, and that's what you want a team to do. You want a team to be playing a little different right now. You want to be getting better right now, and hopefully if you can get some of these tough wins like we've had here lately, that your team can start peaking and looking towards where you can be at the end of the year.
It's Tarleton and Texas A&M Kingsville on Wednesday night from the Steinke Center in Kingsville, Texas. That game at 8 o'clock tip-off. We'll take a quick break, and when we return, Coach and I will wrap up this edition of Lunch with Lonn right here on the Tarleton Athletic KSTV Radio Network.
93.1. It's time to head to the all-new car wash at Hooters. They've remodeled and are now home to the $6 express wash with free self-vacuums. Just $6 and a few quick minutes, and you'll love your car all over again. They've installed brand new equipment to make sure you get a quick, clean wash at an affordable price. Visit carwashatbooners.com and see all the great changes they've made. They even have convenient new hours for the express wash, including new Sunday hours. Need an oil change? Don't forget the detail lube center with a free express wash with every oil change. It's the all-new car wash at Booners, home with the $6 express wash on West Washington and Stephenville, and carwashatbooners.com. You'll love your
Susan, Terry.
over again.
Talking with Chris Gifford from Gifford TV and Electronics. What have you got to offer us today, Chris?
I'm running behind, so we got a lot left on the
big screen TV. I've got 73, 82, and 92-inch Mitsubishis that they need to find a new home. They've been here too long. Listen, if you didn't get what you wanted or you needed, Mom, maybe the new washer, the new dryer.
You need a microphone?
You don't have the man cave quite set up. Go to Gifford TV Electronics. www.giffordtv.com. You are an expert, sir.
93.1.
And welcome back to Bruner Dodge and Lunch with Lonn. I'm Casey Hogan alongside the 25th year head coach of the Tarleton Texans, Lonn Reisman, and our biggest crowd of the year, Coach. And what we like to do to reward our crowd for coming out is give away some excellent gifts. We've got the life-size dice that you will roll if your name is called.
Can't skid it.
And you cannot skid it. Coach Reisman said that all year. You actually have to roll the dice.
And turn that dice over.
I don't know a lot about all that, but I'll listen to you.
I thought
here,
you did,
so. Now you can win a car wash, an oil change, Tarleton athletic gear. You could even win a car courtesy of Bruner Motors. And Greg's not here today, but the sales manager Doug's here, and he will handle that presentation if that does happen. So our first winner, Coach.
Cody Nolan.
Cody's a plowboy. All right.
Cody's going to roll the dice.
Come on out right here, Cody. Grab the dice.
You got to roll that dice.
Roll
Cody.
it away. No skid. No skid in there.
Skidding and you're disqualified.
Here we go. Cody's going to roll the dice. We'll see what he wins. And he wins a t-shirt. Congratulations, Cody. We thank the Plowboys and, of course, our entire live audience. Our second winner, Coach.
Stephanie Sims.
Stephanie, come on down. There she is. Stephanie's going to go roll the dice here. So
got to roll that dice, Stephanie's got to turn.
No one's won the car yet, by the way. We've had the shirt, oil change, car wash, so I think that dice is rigged. But go ahead, Stephanie.
Yeah, Stephanie, you got to roll that dice.
Roll it away there.
Got to roll.
Roll it there. All right.
Oil change.
Oil change. All right. Congratulations, Stephanie and Cody. Once again,
I think Bruners took another breath this week.
I think so. The next broadcast of Tarleton, Texan and Texan basketball Saturday night from Moody Coliseum as both teams take on Abilene Christian University. The Texans tip off at 5:30, followed by the Texans at 7:30. The pregame show starts 15 minutes prior to the broadcast right here on KSTV, the Mighty 93. And Coach, being the shortest road trip of the season, a lot of times, sometimes you'll see a Tarleton crowd be almost as big as the Abilene Christian crowd.
Well, we've had some great crowds go over to the games in the past, and we're hoping to have a great crowd on the road tomorrow night. It's an hour and 20 minutes over there, 25, and so big game for both teams, Casey, and that's what it's about. I told the guys, the more you win, the more the games get bigger. There's no doubt about that, and right now, you know, we have five losses in the loss column, and the number 2 team has 4 losses in the loss column, and they still have to come to Tarleton to play. So, you know, we're going to go over there and play hard and see where this takes us.
The Tarleton Texan baseball team opened up the 2013 season in Houston this past weekend in the Astros in Action Division II Invitational. The Texans won 2 of 3 at Minute Maid Park, and they'll travel to Arkadelphia, Arkansas. Actually, Coach Conger's squad going to get on the bus at 3 o'clock and make the trip to take on Ouachita Baptist in a 4-game series with the first game on Saturday at a noon first pitch. So good luck to Coach Conger. And I know Coach Ponder here has a lot of fond memories at Ouachita Baptist.
Yeah,
I think he went to Ouachita.
I think he did too. Yeah, he knows everything. He's getting ready to open up here in about a couple of weeks, and he'll be in season.
Coach Drake's out in Phoenix with the number 28 ranked Tarleton Texan tennis team. They split their 2 matches yesterday in the Academy of Art Invitational Tournament. They lost to Academy of Art, the host, 7-2, but then they beat Metro State 9-0 out of Denver. Yes, sir. And then they are back in action today, Coach, against Fresno Pacific. So it's got to be nice to be in Phoenix right now.
Yeah, you know, he had a special. He played at home last weekend. It was our first time we brought a Southland Conference team into Stephenville, and Lamar University came in here last week, and he lost to Lamar. But I thought, you know, he played a real competitive match against a Division I school that, you know, that came to our campus to play.
The Tarleton Texan softball team got kicked off this past week at the St. Mary's Invitational in San Antonio. Coach Mata's squad finished with 2 wins and 3 losses, and they will host the first annual Tarleton Softball Invitational this weekend in Stephenville. There's 4 teams playing 8 games on Saturday and Sunday. Right. Coach, the Texans get their schedule kicked off Saturday at 1:30 p.m. against Texas Permian Basin. For game times and tournament results, visit tarletonsports.com. And Coach, I know I'm looking forward to getting out to the softball complex this weekend.
It's going to be. I hope it's beautiful weather for the teams coming in, and we haven't been able to host a tournament now that we have lights out there, and we have the teams are coming in now. I think it's going to be a great weekend for our softball.
Once again, we want to thank Brunner Motors for hosting Lunch with Lonn. Thanks to Cotton Patch Cafe for providing today's food. We want to thank Brad back at the KSTV studio, and of course to Justin McClure here, who is our engineer on site. Thanks to everyone that made this broadcast possible. Last but not least, we want to thank our live audience here at Brunner Dodge, and to each of you listening on KSTV, the Mighty 93. Coach, time now for our final question. You hinted on this earlier. Saturday's game is the final meeting between Tarleton and Abilene Christians as members of the Lone Star Conference. The Wildcats leaving for Division I in the Southland Conference. You answered the first part of my question. I was going to ask you, do you expect to face Abilene Christian again? And second part of my question, are there any special memories that you hold in this series against Abilene Christian?
They've all been just tough games, Casey. We played them in playoff games. We played them in big games, you know, in the region. It's been a great rivalry between the 2 schools, just being an hour and 20 minutes ago. You know, I really feel good about our relationship with them. In fact, next year, we are going to keep our commitment with them in our football program. Yep. We're going to get to play up in Frisco at what it was Pizza Hut Park. Now I think it's FC Dallas. and we're starting that up there, a football rivalry up there, and it's going to be great. And you know, all of our alums are in that area next year, so we're going to have great exposure and great visibility for our university in the Frisco, North Dallas area. And so hopefully we'll get them back on our schedule in basketball and continue to keep our relationship with them, because it's been a great relationship with Abilene Christian.
Coach Reisman, thanks for your time. Best of luck tomorrow night in Abilene.
Thank you, Casey.
That's going to do it for this 6th edition of Lunch with Lonn. Make sure you tune in on Saturday at 7:30 as the Texans take on the Wildcats of Abilene Christian University. For the 25th year head coach of the Tarleton Texans, Lonn Reisman, I'm Casey Hogan saying so long, everyone, from Brunner, Dodge, and Stephenville. Until next time, have a great Friday, and we'll talk to you tomorrow night from Abilene, Texas.
I'll try to get over there tonight.